Hi guys, Alec here. All right, so the enhanced search feature is something that many people actually are not aware of in Pastel. I've seen so many users that open their Pastel and then they use the old search feature, which I just think is, the new feature is phenomenal and so much better. So the old search feature works as follows. And it basically is a more traditional VLOOKUP kind of search. It's a left to right search, and it only searches on in the left hand column in an alphabetic format. All right, so if I go to something like inventory, so by the way, this search is available in customers, under accounts, in suppliers, under accounts, and under inventory, under item file. Okay, so how does it look? Ultimately, if you're in this window and you go search, you click on that button, then you get this traditional search window that comes up here. So how does it work? Ultimately, it only works in your most left-hand column, whatever you would select in these options. So if I were to search by code, I can only search in a left to right fashion. Okay, so if I wanted to say find something like item, I just start typing ITEM, and then it kind of like it goes to that point in the search, but you lose everything else, obviously, which is right. But it's not a great search. If I were to look for, let's say, this word 01, it's not it's not what we call a wildcard search. If I go and say, just show me 01, you'll see it wasn't smart enough to bring up anything. Okay. So if you then want to search on description, you have to toggle to description. That moves the column to the left, and then you have the same ability to search in the most left-hand column in an alphabetic format from left to right. You can always go to this find window, which gives you a bit more searchability, but it's not great. It doesn't help a lot. Okay, so there's a enhanced feature of Pastel which people don't always switch on. How do we switch it on in the first place? Okay, so if I go to setup and I sign in into the user, I can actually switch on that functionality. Right, so let's quickly go there in user, and then I get to the window, obviously, that I have to type in my password. Okay, so by the way, this is not a supervisor, this is the actual demo user. So let me just sign in as a supervisor. Okay, there. All right, so then I still go to the setup, then go over to users and into this user. If you then, okay, it'll ask for your password again. If you then go into the user that's applicable to the one I want to change, and this would be, in this case, it would be the second user, which is called user demo one, or demo user one rather. There's an option here called user preferences. Okay, so if I click that, I get this window. And you'll see there's three places where it says use enhanced search. So I'm going to switch it on. You can switch it on for all of them. I'm just going to say select all. But specifically, I'm going to go back to this inventory search that was just on, so you guys can just have a comparative, video and just example of how it looks when you have switched it on versus when it's not on. So this is going to be now the enhanced search. So the first time you call it in, it takes a bit of time just to activate. But once I go back into the item file, you'll now see I've got, when I call up the search window, it looks different. So it's got this inventory search, and it's got a far more intricate and sophisticated ability to search. You see, I have all these columns, and if I now go and search for anything like the word item, you'll see it searches across any field visible and everything that's been ticked as searched. If I now try something like 02, it does what we call a wildcard search. So it searches inside of all of the actual items, and it says, well, there's a 02, there's a 02, there's also a 02 over here, and even over there. So if I go and search the word, let's say salaries, but I just go for the last four letters, let me just double click that, and I go RES, like that. I'm going to search salaries, and it's got it, yeah, of course, across both of these. And if I go for the, let's say that colon and then cell, you'll see it searches. Do that and SAL. It's it found the same thing, but it's obviously gone onto that component of it. Okay. The other thing that's also cool about it is in the settings of this specific search, you've got quite a few features that you can switch on and off. So if you switch it on, you'll see another window pops up. And that window ultimately tells you what is the search length if you want a search length. So in this case, we said no, everything you can search from the least amount of characters. You've got an initial number of rows. You can increase that. So it shows you 100 rows, but if you want more, you can. There's a type of search. You can go back to left to right, which I don't think is great, but okay, you can do that if you want. Then you can stop using the enhanced search feature if you don't like it. Anyway, I like it. So, and then you've got all these other things you can show. So you'll see at the back here, we've only got a few things on at this stage, like got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields on. And at the back here, you've got those columns that'll show you what has been ticked on as visible fields. But you've got all these other nice visible fields that you can add. And the nice thing is, whatever you add, most of them, you can also search on that field. So you can put on your user defined fields and you can search on it. The only fields you cannot search on are these fields: net, mass, unit, and blocked. You can't search on them. But the rest, you can switch everything on as a show, and you can say, I want to search across any field. All right. I think it's just great. The same features are available in customers and in suppliers, which I think is great because it's not always easy to find those customers. If you have to understand the codes, those codes are very unique, or let's say non-logical rather. It's very computer based because it's a 6-character code. But if you have your enhanced search switched on, you can search across, codes and descriptions and a few more things if you just look into those fields that you have available to search on and to show. All right, I hope that's helpful. Really try it out and let me know. Okay, guys, have a great one. Bye.